Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
And we hope that you had a wonderful, Merry Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Today, we're going to bring back 3 couples, past shows, and we know that you're going to love what they have to say because they're going to reflect on 2020 and also their hopes for 2021.
Mm-hmm. With us today are actors and singers Amick and Cassie Byram, pastor, musician, author Larry Meyers, and his wife, author, actress Nancy Stafford, as well as authors. They were writing a lot of books.
Yeah, a lot of books.
Yeah, authors, producers, and global media consultants, Phil and Kathleen Cooke. So let's just jump in. Welcome, everybody.
Hey!
Hey! Larry and Nancy, Phil and Kathleen, Amick and Cassie, you're all here.
Yes!
Oh, this
Happy
is
New
great.
Year.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year!
Happy New Year to
Yes.
all of you. You know, we were talking about this. We were thinking we've had so many great guests. How are we going to pick? And we thought, well, let's say if we were really having a New Year's party, who would we invite? And none of those people could come. So we just thought, well, you know, you guys are close. We'll grab you guys. So
Well, since you asked us 5 minutes ago, that makes total sense.
right,
Yeah.
that's why the late notice. But actually, it was because we just had so much fun with each one of you, and we were telling you how we've got even our neighbor next door was saying, "I love those ones; those were really good." So it's great.
People
to
have
you
actually
back.
stopped me in stores and quoted
A paint store.
in particular, and quoted things that you have said. So it's been really a blessing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we don't like any of you, so you know
Yeah,
we're just
yeah.
here because we have to be.
Kathleen,
That's right.
that's why we're sectioned off by the boxes.
That's right. Good idea.
Yeah, COVID helped not to put us all in the same
Nice
room,
and
so we
safe.
didn't have to deal
Yeah.
with all that mess, right? But literally, we are locally, we're somewhat close too. So our lives have interacted multiple ways, multiple times, and
for many years.
For many years, and we have so many different connects. It's really sweet. So I thank the Lord for that. But right off the top, we wanted to look back, and this by far has been the craziest, the most unique, most challenging year of our lives. I think we all agree to that, right?
Yes.
And Dan and I were thinking if
different.
2020 was a movie, what would that title be?
I'll jump right in. Mine would be Home Alone.
Yeah. Totally. Well, Amick and Cassie, let's start with you. What do you guys think?
Oh man, I immediately just went to like epic horror film of some kind, like Nightmare on COVID Street or something like that, or Gone with the Virus. I don't know,
I like that one.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of mashed together a couple things. I call it US Down.
Oh.
US down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Piper down, US down.
Yeah, White House Down. You know.
White House down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil and Kathleen.
Oh, well, there were so many titles that went through my head. I made up my own, and I think I made it up because I feel like this is a time of change like we've never seen. You know, so I don't know. I looked at the title Signs and Wonders. What's coming, you know, that we need to get ready for, and going from there, just seeing what God's got. I'm really excited for what's happened actually, because I think it's woken a lot of people up. So
It has.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has. It's a
Yeah.
remarkable
I think so,
time of
too.
our life.
yeah.
Wow,
I remember the
profound.
film. I remember the film that Mel Gibson starred in 1982 called The Year of Living Dangerously, and I thought that pretty much covers
I
it.
remember that film.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Makes sense.
The one that
What
came to
about-
my mind was The Return to the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah. Especially on the toilet paper line at the grocery store.
My God.
You know, that was crazy. That was
Everything-
like WWW wrestling, you know.
Well, I vacillated between two. One is it's a mad world.
Oh, yeah.
In the 60s. And then the other was a made up name, but it's similar to Kathy, yours. And that was Home for the Holidays. Or no, yours, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Home for the Holidays. And I'm thinking,
Mhm.
this is a franchise. And in reverse order, it's home for every single holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah,
entire-
Absolutely.
Home for Christmas, home for Thanksgiving, home for Halloween, home for
Yeah.
Labor Day, home for Memorial Day.
Oh
my
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my movie was going to be that. Have you seen that movie, The Englishman that went up the hill but came down the mountain?
Mhm.
Ever seen it? It
Great
is
movie.
awesome.
Great movie.
A great little movie. But it's about these map surveyors, and they go into this little, I don't know if it's Welsh or Scottish or whatever town it is. And the pride and joy of this town is their mountain. And really, it turns out when they measure it, it's only a hill. So, I mean, the schemes that this city goes through, this little town goes through to really add soil to build it up to get the surveyors to make. And I felt like going into 2020, we all had aspirations and only find out that it's, you know, that they're kind of crushed. And in the movie, you get to see these people. It brings out the best and worst of them. And so I think for 2020, I've seen there's been so much calibrating in my spirit as I've, you know, responded to everything that's happened in the news, what's in front of us, all the heartache, all the heartbreak. And so for me, it's been, like you say, about relationships, about having it reveal things to me, who I, you know, so many deep things about my values and standing for Christ and what I want my epitaph to be, and all those things of legacy.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that for me, that's been my heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, now we are safely in 2021, but you know, looking back and kind of in hindsight at 2020, what was your biggest takeaway, or maybe what was your biggest surprise, the unexpected thing that you didn't expect to come? That's why it's unexpected. Phil, Kathleen, I'll start with you guys.
Oh, the thing that we didn't expect. Well, you know, Phil and I travel so much. We'd been in 8 countries. We were scheduled for 8 more in the spring. And of course, everything fell apart. And so everything went from putting our tennis shoes on and running through an airport to putting our tennis shoes on and running through Zoom. So,
Yes. Yes.
you know, we work with churches and ministries and entertainment people and media people, helping them use media effectively. And so everyone was online now, and it was a mad world. Maybe that should have been the title I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But you know, I think overall for me, my takeaway for this year has been that it's been about relationships and about how precious they are, and re-examining and understanding that relationships don't necessarily have to be personally with each other, but like what we're doing today, you know, it's these kind of relationships that have resonated with us over years and years and years, and that are precious. And so that's been my biggest takeaway, is how important you guys are in our lives and our families. And
feel that way.
so that was my biggest takeaway, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I think my takeaway was have a plan B.
Wow.
It's interesting, the number of people in our industry, and I think people working as a career everywhere just have always done the things the way they did them. And you know, things happen in life, things happen in your career, the industry changes, the world is changing, and so having a plan B is absolutely critical. And I noticed the people that were most flexible, the people that were most adaptable, are the people that survived well during this time. And the people that were kind of locked into one way of doing things, they'd always done it this way, those are the people that really struggled. So I cannot underestimate the power of having a plan B. I just think that should be in place all the time.
Yeah, I think that's right. Byram's, what do you think?
I'm going to tag on to what Phil said. If you don't have a plan B, you have to quickly make one up. And I think that's the case with a lot of people. And like Phil said, just the people who can really change on a dime are you put yourself in a better position. I guess the main thing that I've learned is just the fragility of what we have come to expect out of our lives and our relationships and just our lifestyles it's very fragile. And so we have to be always on guard to not take that for granted. I guess that would be a big big takeaway. So
huge.
Well, 2020 caused me to my thoughts started to focus on a lot about priorities and redeeming the time and legacy. And I don't mean legacy in the sense of, like what kind of big splash am I going to make? It's about really what kind of an impact am I or are all of we really making within that sphere of influence that God has given all of us, and whether it's how are we doing things with our time. And it's not about numbers or anything like that. I mean, it can be how I influence one person or how I influence 1 million. It's not about the numbers, it's about how I'm doing it. So it really caused me to focus on that, about the how, not the how many.
Yeah.
And you've got some great, you talk about legacy, you meaning grandparents for the first time.
Yeah, we're so
Yeah.
excited. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's been really fun. That's for sure.
It's kind of full circle for us because you were on our show when you just heard the news,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and now we're having you and you have the baby. So
So
that's
great.
so great.
And that does, I'm telling you, I think that calibrates and all of us, I mean, that calibrates you about legacy too, because you realize that this,
Exactly.
you want
What's
to
going on?
leave behind a pathway so they can know what the values and who Jesus is and what he means. And
I
so
think you're right, Peggy. That really deepened those thoughts for us. And I have to tell you that we got our first smile this morning. So
Oh,
the
Yeah.
best.
and then you find out it's just gas.
It counts.
That's what we learned.
Yeah.
But yeah, to Peggy's point, it still counts.
That's just you, honey. That's just you.
That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about me.
why do people say that? Why would anybody smile when they're having gas pains? I mean, I don't get that.
I don't get
I don't
that.
know. Larry, Nancy, what's your takeaway this year? This past year?
The beginning of every year, I always ask the Lord to give me one word for the year. Not biblical, but it's a sweet time between the Lord and me. And it's every year has been exactly what I've needed for the year. So this year, thinking nothing of it in January or in last year, I strongly got the word trust. And I hated that word because if you get that word, it means you're going to have to exercise it. So I've had that word a couple of years ago when this guy almost died on us.
Yes.
But last year was a different word. So suddenly trust comes up again. And don't you know, it's exactly the word we've all needed, because as Phil talked about having a plan B, as actor and musician, who's really more beholden to productions to employ us. And as a speaker, everything shut down. So all my speaking gigs stopped. Productions paused and shifted and started off to the next year. And suddenly we were really in a position to have to absolutely trust God like never before. And so the scripture that really he's given me to kind of hold on to during this reset, where he basically said to me, this is the biggest, you're going to face the biggest shaking and it's total chaos, but trust me. And it's Isaiah 42, where he talks about, don't be full of fear. Don't be dismayed and discouraged, because I'm with you. I will uphold you. I'll strengthen you. I'll uphold you with my righteous right hand. And that has really been a huge anchor for me throughout this whole time. And I have to admit that I'm an introvert. So actually this time has been an introvert's dream. I've been in this little cocoon and I've been perfectly happy, but it's caused me to go very deep with relationships and people I love, but also deep in my relationship with the Lord too. And in trusting in a way that I haven't really had to do quite this way with him.
Yeah. How about you, Larry?
Well, we didn't talk about this, but it's very similar. It's an extension of my health crisis a couple of years ago, where I had to revert back to or rely on some things I was taught as a young man, and that is that God has an overarching plan that he's working out. And so to achieve some degree of peace for my own self this year, I've had to just go back to that again and again and again. God has a plan, and we can trust him, we can rely on him. And so I have repeated that to myself daily, and in almost every conversation, one way or another, I've had the opportunity, or I felt like I needed to remind people, the Lord has a plan. Things are not out of control as far as he's concerned.
Yes.
The world has been through this sort of thing many times before. We're going to make it, and we can trust him and rely on him, and we can experience his peace in the midst of it.
Yeah.
And we were stretched a bit too, even with the, we had 2 sets of fires on our, close
In
to
our
us.
canyon, real close.
In the canyons, close to us.
We had all of our valuables, right in the garage, ready to put in the car.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it was an upheaval and on so many levels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many levels.
Yeah.
I
But
had to stop watching the news as much as possible. I mean, after 5 minutes, your spirit's so agitated.
well, Larry, that's really what my takeaway is. My takeaway was the kindness of people, because I didn't see it reflected on the news or social media. I saw a lot of divisive anger, hatred, name calling,
Well,
vilifying.
you should just stop following me on social media.
I know.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. So yeah, I learned that. I
Never noticed.
said, don't watch Phil. But
No more.
but the kindness I saw reflected in my community. I saw neighbors reaching out to elderly neighbors and saying, are you okay? Can we bring you groceries? I saw people in checkout lines at grocery stores saying, thank you for how hard you guys are working. So we have food. So I saw a different narrative than much of what the media was telling us. And that was a wonderful takeaway, to see the kindness in the human spirit. So that was great.
That is great. Wasn't it cool how neighbors, because everybody started walking. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Neighbors, you met people that you never met before, and everyone was saying hello to each other. There was just sort of like this desperate need for connection, and it was so heartwarming, and we feel more connected to our neighborhood than we ever have before.
Yes.
Same here.
And to see all little chalk writings of little ones.
Yes.
Blessing you
That
and or putting scriptures.
on the
People got
sidewalks.
very creative. I have a friend who would post lovely things, leave chalk up and notes tacked on with
I think we need to move to your neighborhood.
You know where we live.
In our neighborhood, they wrote "Stay away."
There's your mask.
That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. We live in a pretty grouchy neighborhood over here. Everybody's
Yeah.
head down. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and you had to learn how to be expressive with a mask. I mean,
Oh yeah, I remember
realized
the first time I went to a grocery store, I'm smiling at everybody, and it's like, why is everybody being so cold to me? I realized you can't see the mask.
so it had to be intentional in new and creative ways.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But both Peggy and I echo what Kathleen said. We really saw were reminded of the value of friendships, how much we love each of you and our other friends. And that's why Life Off Screen to us has been a gift this year.
Absolutely.
Bless you. We pray that it's just a great year ahead, and we can't wait to see you physically and give you big hugs and hang out together again.
Yeah.
Look forward to that too.
We
We'll
really
do a
really,
dinner.
Yeah.
Oh
do a
my
big
gosh,
dinner.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Guys,
Bye,
Love you
everyone.
guys.
we loved
See
it.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Love you
you.
guys.
take care.
And done.
Thank you for joining us for Life Off Screen with Dan and Peggy Rupple. Life Off Screen is produced by Master Media International. Our technical director is Jason Rugg. Please subscribe to the Life Off Screen YouTube channel or subscribe to the Life Off Screen podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love to hear from you. You can leave your comments in the comment section, and to find out more about Master Media, go to mastermedia.com. Thanks again for joining us. Hope to see you next time.